Hi, I'm Dr. Frances Yahia. I've got a PhD in mental health, and I'm also an archetypal astrologer, metaphysician, shaman, and spiritual counselor. There's a lot of astrology wisdom going on all over the internet these days. And what my hope is to bring a little bit more depth to the reality of these cycles. So I want to talk to you about the new moon in Taurus that's coming on April 30th. So first, let's talk about why the moon and why we track these moons, whether they're new moons or full moon cycles, so closely. The moon has a lot of impact on the tides, if you think of the waters. And because we're primarily water, our spiritual growth and our spiritual development is dictated by the water element in our body, in our life. And so in order to understand our own spiritual cycles, tracking the moon every 29 days is a really good way to have a microcosm to the larger macrocosm, which is your life. So each moon gives you an opportunity to look deeply at one aspect of your spiritual development. The April 30th moon is going to be a new moon in Taurus. What does that mean? The new moon means that we have no light of our own. The moon only gets light from the sun. So when we're starting new moon cycles, especially by the sign, it tells of how we're trying to find light or worth in the world. And Taurus, that's ruled by Venus, is all about joys, comforts, textures, scents, smells, the pleasures that enter through the senses. So that is going to be the theme for the next 29 and a half days. So this is my invitation to you. Look and first identify in your chart where you have the moon transiting, what house. That's going to tell you the area where you really want to identify how those comforts, how that perceived laziness or slowing down attachment that's linked to Taurus, food and sex and Netflix and just being kind of cozy at home, how you identify that with self-worth in that section of your house. So that's it of your chart. So what house? The other thing is that the new moon in Taurus is going to be aspecting anything that you have in Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So next you want to see what you have those houses in, because those are going to be areas that are going to be blocked, where perhaps you're going to judge wanting to be lazy or comforted or taken care of, or just being on the couch, not getting out and dressing up and going out with your friends. So you start to identify how there is a judgment around the new moon with that sign. The sign of Taurus is ruled by Venus, and the glyph or the planet looks like a circle with a cross on the bottom. And this means balancing your spirit and your matter. And so you want to start doing that during this 29 and a half day cycle of this moon. So you're going to have the influence of the moon in Taurus for the next entire month. So you really want to pay attention as the moon starts to build with the light that it gets from the sun, how you start to identify either more or less with your material possessions, your joys, your comforts, your things, your scents, your textures, your laziness, your work habits, your sleep habits, all of those things that are ruled by Taurus. The phrase for Taurus is I have. So this statement is going to be what I invite you to journal throughout the month. How does I have, or what you have specifically in your particular astrology chart where you have Taurus, where the moon is transiting, do you put a lot of emphasis on your worth? I have, therefore, I am worthy, or in that section of your chart. I invite you to really look at that throughout the entire month. And you'll start to see how perhaps there's resistance to the fact that you feel worthy because you have things, or maybe you'll be drawn towards the full moon to give things away so that you're not identifying with that thought. But that's an absolutely important thought, because Taurus rules the body, it rules the desires, and we need desires. Desires drive our passion. Our body is the only place that the spirit can dwell. So the notion of being detached or not having, or being identified with, if I have this, I'm worthy, can go both ways. You can go overboard and not want anything, which is not healthy, or have an attachment or a gluttonous sort of style. And that's also not healthy. So you want to pay attention to those extremes. And then find where you have Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio in your chart. And that's going to tell you the areas where you're going to be resisting this concept of having, of worth linked to these aspects of your chart. So this is really how we use the new moon cycles. We track them for about the entire 29 and a half day. It's sort of like the trigger thought that ripples throughout the entire month. We start to grapple with this belief system or this thought starting in the chart where you have Taurus and going full around the zodiac for the next month when the new moon then goes into Gemini. Thank you.